confiscate all that to the state. But that regime is very important. What we are doing, what Minerals Commission is also doing, is that not only registering the excavators at the DVLA, we are also tracking them. And if you look at some of the numbers we have so far, we have basically registered, DVLA has registered 1,181, and we have tracked 724 of them, which means that if you tell me you are taking those excavators to Takwa, we'll track it and make sure that when you go anywhere and it's not Takwa, you have a problem. We have a control room that is monitoring all these excavators in the system. And then with geofences as well. You say you are going to mine in Takwa, we know the perimeter of that mining area. You have to send it and operate within that perimeter. Anytime it goes outside the geofence area, that excavator will be disabled. And so those systems will be tightened as we go forward. And ultimately the plan is to make sure every excavator in this country is tracked and geofenced. Yes, I'm winding it up. Well, I can't wind it up. There are two important things. I think I talk about degraded land. What are we doing about it? What are we doing about degraded land? I first talk about the water bodies. As you know, we launched what we call the Tree for Life initiative. His Excellency launched this in Kumasi last March. And the policy is to make sure we plant this year alone 60 million seedlings between the Ministry of Environment and the Ministry of Lands. I'm very happy that program has started, and we are moving full team ahead on that. We've also, as part of the initiative, focusing on dechemicalizing the water bodies and making sure we protect these water bodies. Often I get what are the blue water gas going. This morning, my social media a guy sent me and said, "Oh, one of my blue water gas female has been impregnated by a man." I said, I said, well, but the truth is that this blue water gas it's funny. I read it on social media. Well, these blue water guards are not only educating those communities in the riverine area, they are acting as intelligent officers. A lot of equipment that has been seized because of the blue water gas. And so I strongly believe they are a very important addition to the fight. And we have recruited almost 1,000 of them this year. We're going to continue recruiting more of them. They are doing a good job. I think one of the critical pillars, which is basically the last pillar, is providing alternative suitable. And at this point, ladies and gentlemen, before I even say anything, can we all rise in memory of our... one of the critical pillars, which is basically the last pillar, is providing alternative suitable. And at this point, ladies and gentlemen, before I even say anything, can we all rise in memory of our departed colleagues who, in the fight of this illegal mining, lost their life? Can we have a minute of silence, please? May the life of our departed colleagues and may their souls rest in perfect peace. Amen. We have, thanks to the President, who established a responsible small-scale mining program. So far, we've identified a lot of areas working with large-scale mining companies as a team to make sure we transfer their best practices to these communities, create a win-win partnerships for them. A lot of mining companies are now on board. We've begun that process, and what we are doing is to make sure that everybody who wants to engage in mining, we've created a legal pathway for them. We have also created the audit that we are talking about, all those areas that are good, that are not going to destroy water bodies, and our forests will be allocated to the responsible corporate mining program to make sure that we train people, we give them all the tools they need so that they can mine responsibly and sustainably. And so the fight against illegal mining, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, anytime you talk about where we have been, think about the depth where we started. Within 9 months, these are the steps we've taken. But as I said, it is not a sprint, it's a marathon. What gives me hope and what we are looking at is that we believe that by next year we'll review completely our laws and our policies. We believe that we are going to continue this fight and make sure that we start seeing marked improvement not only in our forests but our water bodies. Our reclamation program is very expensive. I take the opportunity to call on all Ghanaians, especially corporate Ghana, to come to support in this effort. Think about 7,500 football fields in the forest that we have to reclaim. Billions of Ghana cedis. And so we will continue this fight. We will continue with the COMSDEP program and all the other alternatives to empower our young people to move away. We are working closely to make sure we improve our turbidity levels, as has been said. But the data is very clear. We are on a forward march. Are we where we want to be? No. Have we been making progress? Yes. I'm confident we are on the right path. And I believe, as the president has said, Ghanaians will be at the forefront of this mining industry, and we'll do it responsibly, making sure that our water bodies are 10 blue. And what gives me confidence is the political will and the leadership that His Excellency John Mahama is providing. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. So, government has presented its offerings in the fight against illegal mining. President Mahama would now like to hear from members of civil society organizations present, as well as the clergy. So the floor will be opened. If you have any comments, contributions, or indications to give, please put up your hand. The microphone will be brought to you. And I would urge that in the interest of time, we avoid lengthy preambles and go straight to the points that we want to make. We will take about 5 contributions, after which His Excellency will share with us a few remarks. All right. So I see about 3 hands here. There's a lady. Yes, please rise and make your contribution.
Okay. Hello, I'm Dr. Najo Ajeli Boyjani. I'm here on behalf of One Ghana Movement. I want to make a comment on what the gentleman talking about, the water presentation. Yes, he gave some figures. I'm not sure that is really the full picture, because recently in the news it was reported that some of the water bodies are 90,000 NTU and over, and turbidity levels are just about the things we can see. That's the cloudiness of the water. He didn't talk about what we are doing to take care of the heavy metals, because we have, as a result of Galamsey, we have mercury, cyanide that they use to get the gold, and cyanide is causing, I'm a medical doctor by profession, I'm also a researcher. Cyanide is causing a lot of organ dysfunctions in our clinic. We see mercury poisoning in our clinics, but he didn't talk about what we are doing. We don't have the facilities, as far as I know, to I don't really understand when he says that we are on a forward march, because I feel like we are not doing enough. Because we are even last year we even had a lot of cholera cases. This is all as a result of Galamsey. We have malaria cases as well. Right. And yeah, we are tired of seeing these things in our hospitals. Bed defects, so and all
Dr. Luma will answer that presently. I see another hand. There's a gentleman in a hat. Yes. Yeah, Dr. Akenashibe, pardon me for not making you out.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, unfortunately, the time that has been given is quite short. Yeah. So we have written out what we would present, and we would give it to you, and we would give a copy to the press as well. His Excellency, we believe that there's some political will that you've demonstrated. The minister is working. But the elephant in the room was not mentioned. You heard the Attorney General talk only about Akonta mine. The Attorney General has referred some politically exposed persons to the Iyoko. We've not heard anything about that. There are some politically exposed persons that we, the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey, have petitioned you about. We've not heard anything about that. There are some chiefs that are complicit in it. So let me read just a short bit of what our ask is. Our ask is that given the unprecedented crisis and the fact that our demands are clear, we ask you, His Excellency, to clearly tell us in granular definition, your granular definition of success in the fight against Galamsey. Also share with us very definitive roadmap that would include key milestones and timelines and how we are going to get there. We believe that the work that has been done by EPA and all about the level of heavy metals in our water bodies, the turbidities that have gone above 98,000 NTUs, and my brother, the scientist, that report he shared with us, unfortunately, for all of us who are scientists, we know that this is not how you measure water quality. We know that that's not how you do it. You need to deal with the seasonalities. You need to deal with what the water quality index is, what you should be sharing with us and telling us what is it that we've been consuming as a people. And all of us, our lives are at risk. Our lives are at very risk. So we ask that His Excellency, you also tell us what benchmark would compel you to invoke the state of emergency, which you term is your last resort. We believe that the state of emergency is critical to carrying out some of the things that the minister has spoken about, to deal with the ecocidal genocide that is being perpetuated against all of us as Ghanaians. We also ask that the fast-track court that is being mentioned, timelines be put to them, and then the key points be also mentioned. What are the key performance indicators that have been given to our MCs, DCs, police commanders in areas where Galamsey is still going on? And what are the consequences for failure? Because we see a lot of them failing, but nothing is happening to them. We also ask that the chiefs, that some of them that are doing good work, and there are examples of them, Mampong, Gemma, and there's a community where they have a water body called...
No, that should be, not to rush you, because of time, I would kindly ask that you wrap up. So that
okay, I would wrap up.
Yeah.
So our quest is that the chiefs, anywhere that Galamsey is going on, the chiefs are either acquiescing or they know something about it. Those lands be confiscated and the chiefs be investigated. Continue those cases against the community members who are fighting this on our behalf. And then finally, the last one is the issues around accountability measures. Ghana Water Research should be publishing the quality index of water that is coming to all the treatment plants. The president should also commission a group to be doing food quality tests and publishing that to all of us so that we are sure that we are not consuming poison. And we will submit this document to His Excellency. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I'll take a couple of questions from here. I see a hand up from behind, and then one. There's a Reverend Minister in front here. Yes. Please, same rubric applies. Short and succinct.
Okay. Your Excellency the President, state officials,
so much for brevity. Yeah.
Okay, I'll go straight to the point.
Yes.
Mr. President, I state unequivocally that our nation is at war. There are criminals, environmental terrorists, greedy men and women that have waged war against the sovereignty of Ghana and her citizens. They are not fighting us with missiles. They are not bombarding us with bombs. but they are fighting us, including generations unborn, with mercury, cyanide, arsenic, lead, and what have you. Where we have gotten to now, we have to make a decisive decision whether we are going to tolerate what is going on at the moment, or we are going to take a frantic action to arrest the menace of Galamsey. And I'm going to appeal to the president that he must do what the president of Ghana must do. He must do what the president of Ghana must do, which is, Mr. President, declare a state of emergency. Mr. President, only you have the power to declare a state of emergency. And therefore, please, do it. Professor Osai Sampeni, just last week.
You've made your appeal. In the interest of time, let us move to...
No, 2 more minutes.
No, I'm afraid I cannot afford that. So the Reverend Minister in front here will have his bite of the cherry, please. No, we'll come back.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Osofo, you have the floor.
Thank you. Your Excellency, I want to take opportunity to congratulate the effort that has been made so far. In the presentation by the Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, he indicated plans to establish district mining committees. My concern is whether this will not be another avenue for corrupting the system at the local level and even granting these opportunities more frequently than what we see now. In terms of the vehicles, the machinery that are being confiscated, I humbly would want to request for very transparent accountability in the interest of government, so that naysayers will not pick it up and talk about missing excavators and chamfer machines. And so I want to request for transparency. My third question is whether we can have regular weekly updates. I mean, the concern for state of emergency being declared is coming from an apprehension of what is being done. And so if, like we are hearing now, there can be a regular update, I mean, statewide, so that people know what progress is being made and people can see pictures, so that hearts
we will come back for a second round of questioning. So those of you who want to ask more questions, you will have the opportunity to do so.
Chief, excuse me.
Does Ken Alabaji have the mic? Yeah, please go ahead with your contribution.
Livelihoods and economic alternatives, institutional transparency and political accountability, and last but not least, the strategic intelligence and security. Within this framework, I would wish to borrow from the strategic thought of the Chinese general Sun Tzu, that the best general is the one who wins a war without firing any shot. Our position as CDT is that at this material time, it is a bit premature to declare a state of emergency because it entails political, socio-economic, and other security risks. So therefore, our main point within this 6-point framework is to identify the center of gravity of Galamsey. And that center of gravity is the use of industrial machinery. So therefore, the main effort, and I'm speaking in terms of military strategy, the main effort of the state, the government, against that center of gravity will be to eliminate the use of machinery, heavy machinery. If we can do this in timelines, we would have reverted the issue of illegal mining to the days of Don Diego de Azambuja, when we were basically mining gold with basic implements. Once we do that, all other things will fall in line. But as I've said, our policy brief outlines the details of how we could go about this.
All right.
Once again, I thank you.
Thank you very much. As I indicated, we will come back for another round. But I would invite Dr. Lumo to address the medical doctor's concerns regarding dechemicalization and other important indices in the assessment of water quality. That can tie into Dr. Ashigbe's concerns relating to other metrics that you may not have spoken about. After him, the Attorney General will address the matter of politically exposed persons referred to his outfit for action and the status of that. His Excellency may want to speak about the state of emergency when he gets his turn to sum up. And then the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources will have to speak about the state of emergency when he gets his turn to sum up. And then the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources will address concerns raised by Osofo on the District Mining Committee initiative and the transparency and accountability measures to ensure that nobody takes advantage of the situation to enrich themselves, as was the case in the past. And then Colonel Abuaje's take on the premature calls for state of emergency may also be addressed by His Excellency when he gets the opportunity to wrap up. So, Dr. Lumo, shall we have you? Yeah.
Thank you. Hello? Okay. Thank you very much. On the issue of the monitoring, what we presented here is just one parameter. That's the stability that we all can relate to. It's what we see on the ground, and that is what we brought over here. For heavy metals, it's this year that we began monitoring heavy metals. We've always been doing only the physiochemicals. We've not done heavy metals, but this year we began this heavy metals monitoring, and I don't have the results here. That's why you don't see it here. On the issue of engineer Ashigbe point, what we presented here are the facts. As I pointed out during my presentation, these were selected locations where NIMOS has operated, and then the results. I also did mention that there are some places that we have elevated turbidity, and we're hoping that they can extend their operations to those places where they can effectively help us reduce the impact. I am also aware that, and I think if Chief Executive Officer of EPA is here, she can also speak to it, that they are in the process of acquiring a system that can help the separation of heavy metals from our water bodies. That's in the form of treating our water bodies. Thank you.
If the EPA CEO is here, she can shed light on that aspect of their operations.
Yeah. Thank you, Your Excellency. What the EPA is in the process of acquiring It's a technology that will help treat our water bodies while the water are in their position. Even every other thing from water. So water can now be treated as they are on the lands where we have, before they get into the treatment plants of the water companies.
Is there any indication of how quickly this is going to be done? Timelines. Dr. Shibe is interested in that.
The timelines is tied to financials as well. So we are seeking commitment authorization from the Ministry of Finance. Once we have that, we'll be able to procure this technology. It's a chemicalization of our water bodies. Then we'll go ahead with it.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Now, the Attorney General will speak to the politically exposed persons and the status of investigations, as well as any other actions that he may have initiated against such persons.
Thank you very much. It is true we referred two people who are politically exposed to the Economic and Organized Crime Office for investigation. These were the Honorable Yamin and Abanga, who is a third national vice chairman, one of the vice chairmen of our party. When we did the referral, it was upon intelligence that we got that was sent to both myself and the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. But after we did, some petitions came from small-scale miners to the Economic and Organized Crime Office, then complicating the investigations. And so, as we speak, an investigative report is yet to be made to my office because those small-scale miners also brought their petitions that had allegations against the two persons who were referred. And so, at this point in time, I cannot definitively speak to what is contained in the investigative report because it is yet to be presented to my office by the EOCO. But we are definitely taking action on those matters. Thank you very much.
Right. Okay, so Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, are your district mining committees prone to corruption? And are there mechanisms to ensure transparency and accountability in the handling of assets that are confiscated during the fight when Keneboa and his men stormed these Galamsey sites?
Thank you very much. I think that before I answer that question, I think the point about the custody of the seized excavators and how we protect it to make sure we don't create that challenge of missing excavators is something that has been taken on board. We're doing everything to make sure that those are strictly protected in government custody. Already in the current laws, everybody who gets the licenses, in the process of the licensing, are supposed to engage these mining communities and local communities. What has happened is that those are not happening. You've had a lot of complaints about chiefs in these mining communities. And so, when I was talking about the district mining communities, what I said was that they are going to be the first step in the licensing process and basically give recommendations. Those recommendations will be followed up by the Minerals Commission before those licenses are ultimately issued. And so I think it's an additional layer which I think will be helpful to address those concerns. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. We'll come back to regularity of yes. All right.
Oh, I think that's taken on board and it's something that we'll be doing.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much. So we'll come back to another 5 questions or contributions. So we'll start with Osofo. No, second from left. Yes. Bishop, please, you have the floor.
Mr. President, respectfully I rise on behalf of the Ghana Catholic Bishops Conference, listening to your presentation today, especially from the Honorable Minister and our soldier from Nemos. We acknowledge that something good is happening. However, we, as you know us, will continue to be consistent voice of truth to your administration, just as we've done to many other administrations. So permit me to read a few lines to you. We'll be submitting ours to you also.
Please go ahead.
In the name of God, and on behalf of the good people of Ghana who voted for you, we urge you, Your Excellency, to provide the following: clear benchmarks that will trigger a state of emergency, visible prosecution of kingpins, including those named in official reports, the establishment of promised fast-track courts, measurable performance indicators for local authorities and security services, protection for communities and traditional leaders who resist galamsey, alongside accountability for those complicit. Your Excellency, credibility is now as important as policy. Our people must see that no one is above the law and that economic expediency cannot outweigh the sacred right to clean water, safe food, and a healthy environment. We are with you in this fight, and so we beg of you and we urge you to act with courage and moral clarity. Delay is to raise complicity in what is fast becoming an ecocidal tragedy of monumental proportions. Our house is on fire. Let us put it out. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bishop, for those moving words. The president of the Ghana General Association leads an organization that has been vocal in the fight against galamsey. So at this stage, we will hear from him and learn what his organization represents.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. First of all, colleagues, as a matter of fairness, let's acknowledge the progress made so far. Until this day, I didn't know we had made such progress. And I must admit that that is for the good of this fight. And so we will continue to select on the matter of continuous engagement and also update, as requested by my brother here, the Reverend Minister, that how do we tell the story? Because these are all stories which are not out there. We, as part of the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey, have been calling for the state of emergency. But having heard and followed the presentation today, I'm tempted to believe that we are on the right path. It is a matter of having progressive engagement and also getting the media involved in telling the story. Right. Sometimes we need the resources, the tools to be able to get the story from the ground and report it as it is. I believe that the Honourable Minister is here. I have called on him severally. The GHOne is ever ready. Our doors are open to partner with the ministry to tell the story as it is, so that the citizens and the good people will appreciate what is being done. But I still think that, as you said, we still have a long way to go, and the government must not be complacent in what has been done so far, must rather double our steps and ensure that success become ours. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So there's a gentleman in spectacles in the middle, in Fugu. Yes. It appears contributors are not identifying themselves. So please identify yourself, your organization, so that it helps us appreciate where you're coming from. Yes.
So my name is Professor GHOne. I'm the Director of Council for Scientific Industrial Research, Water Research Institute. And I must say that what we're hearing and what we've seen, I think, is quite good for the progress that have been made so far. And I must indicate that when the commander spoke about the Galamsey monitoring in the day. I said, well, that is no. But then he has indicated that they are going to continue this during the evening and the night. And I think if that is the strategy, they must try and follow through with that. Now, you will note that Dr. Lemore did indicate the level of turbidity reducing significantly. And I must say that it's not the first time, because I remember in 2017, there was a year banned on Galamsey. In fact, Water Research Institute had been following through in terms of monitoring of the water, and we saw a significant reduction in the turbidity, and alongside we also saw reduction also in other heavy metals. What I might say that the water itself will be able to cleanse itself over some period, but it will take some time. So I recommend, and I ask Mr. President, that if this is halted, then there must be a regular monitoring of heavy metals in the water. And we must know that it's not only the mercury, because there are some heavy metals that come along with the ore, which we break for the mining. So during the process of the crushing, grinding, and the washing, other poisonous heavy metal are also released, like arsenic, which is carcinogenic, like lead, and many other. So we are imploring the president that there must be, as we take this action, there must be a constant monitoring so that we'll be able to notice what progress is being made. And as the EPAC CEO has also indicated, there is also the need to look at trying to clean the waters as well. But I must indicate that this is quite voluminous water. Pra alone is about 375 kilometers. And if you want to clean, it costs for a lot of money to do that. But I think that in specific areas may require. I must also indicate that special areas around the intake of water for Ghana Water Company, those areas must be looked at in terms of decriminalization so that this effort will be made. But I must say, a good progress is being made, but we need to hold on and do our best to ensure that this is done. Now, I believe that when it is done, we will have a lot of health hazard that we are seeing come to an end. I thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. There's a lady at the back here whose hand is up. Please give the microphone to her. So please identify yourself and let us hear your contribution.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Patience Tay. I'm an environmental and political activist. My question is this. Earlier this year, a representative of this government, Samuel J. made a statement that LI 2462 will be repealed in May when Parliament resumes. May came and the LI was not revoked. The lands minister said, I think in August or September, I'm not exactly sure. It was October. Okay. In October or...
Please allow her to put her thoughts.
I think within the weeks or last weeks or whatever the situation, yeah.
All right, please go ahead. Yes.
Okay, so he made a statement that the LI would be revoked when Parliament resumes in October.
Yes.
How can we believe that when there have been inconsistencies?
All right.
So that is my question.
All right, thank you very much. Now I'll take a contribution from the representative of Islamic organizations here. Please bring him the microphone. Okay, all right. Thank you.
Acting Executive Secretary, Office of the National Chief Imam. Let me be quick in adding my voice to the gains made so far by the government, to the so far as what other colleagues were saying. Now, having listened to the presentation and then the contribution coming from the House, there is one fundamental issue that I think we should be looking at, and that is enforcement. All the suggestions we are listening to has been captured already in the presentation. Those are brilliant solutions. All we need at this stage is to enforce. Right from the legal to the task force, and then the blue, is it the blue armies? The blue water. We know exactly what to do. We have an idea of what to do. From the Muslim community, we are just asking that let's work on the enforcement and we'll make a lot of gains. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So we'll now take a contribution from a representative of small-scale miners who have perspectives to share on this matter. For the avoidance of doubt, these are not galamseyers. These are small-scale miners.
Yes, thank you very much.
Properly so-called.
I'm Godwin Amar, the General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners. Your Excellency, we, the Association of Small-Scale Miners, have hope. We know the issue of illegal mining is not an event, but it's a process. So we are going to work with NIMOS to ensure that we attain the extraordinary, that is, ensure that our water bodies gain the turbidity levels that we all want to see. The establishment of the Gold Board, as one of the example, is that whilst we are able to, formalize the downstream, which is the trading aspect of the small-scale mining sector, and we are seeing the gains in terms of gold production, which we've not seen in this country before. Every month we are getting close to 2 tons of gold. And if you look at the economic benefits, you know that the industry is something that we cannot say is not contributing to the socio-economic gains of the country. The issue of galamsey, one of the areas is the importation. We've seen excavators being tracked and all that. I want to ask the minister what he's doing about the importation of chamfans. Because now that you don't have the excavators, even the chamfans, the havoc that they can cause with the use of what we call one leg, and then small China, and all that, they can do a lot of havoc, even more than the excavators. So we propose that there should be some sort of restriction so that those who have licenses will have access to it instead of it being imported by everyone. Because research that we've done, it comes in thousands.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I saw the hand of Franklin Kujo up. So, Franklin, you have the floor. And, Your Excellency, with your kind permission, we'll take 2 additional contributions and then we'll come to you.
Oh, thank you very much. I'd just like to say that it looks as if we need more money. And I'm saying this for the simple reason that when I looked at last year's budget for fighting galamsey, it was about 10 million Ghana cedis. You guys allocated almost 50 million Ghana cedis to fight galamsey, and already we are seeing some results. Question I have, how much money do you really need to fix everything? We just want to know. And by the way, you have to be giving us updates as to how you use the money. So how much money do you really need? Because it looks to me 50 million is enough, and I'm seeing some results really, but we need more. Second question, is it official government policy to be deporting Chinese who are engaged in galamsey?
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So there's a gentleman at the back, and then we'll take a lady in the light blue shirt also at the back, and that will be it. All right, please identify yourself and then...
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Dr. Solomon Usu from Denver, Colorado, United States.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead, Dr. Usu.
All right. I'm here because of Honorable Muntaka. He has passed a policy that whenever these foreigners who are criminals are arrested, we are supposed to deport them. Your Excellency, you all remember that I asked a similar question back in 2019, Mr. Osafo-Mafo, and then it became a political capital for NDC. Why are we repeating the same thing? if we can arrest Chinese guys who are the key galamseyers in this country, and we just deport them without enforcing them to reclaim our lands and restore our water bodies, then what is the fight about? What is the difference between arresting them, deporting them, and GHOne's arrest and the deportation? Honorable Muntaka should explain to us. If we cannot prosecute and jail the Chinese nationals, then there's no point prosecuting and jailing Ghanaians who commit the same offense in the country that they come from.
All right, your point.
Secondly, secondly,
please make it very
we've been
snappy.
talking about responsible mining, and in fact, I must congratulate the sector minister, Mr. Boa, and the team about the good work that they've done so far. It's not enough. Ghanaians want to see restored water bodies. Ghanaians want to see reclaimed lands. When are we starting? I know he has important and very strong policies coming up, to be rolled out on reclamation and restoration of water bodies. We need to expedite it for Ghanaians to see the good works that you are doing. Thank you very much.
So there's a lady behind here who has the floor now.
My name is Priscilla Toboli. I'm representing Fix the Country. Now, my question is, why have we not seen prosecutions from the frontline institutions that issue the reckless mining licenses? And then when is it going to begin? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. President, there is a representative of the Ghana Association of Disabled Persons. So we want to give them the opportunity. Physically challenged. Pardon my mix up. Yes.
Don't worry. Thank you very much. Well, the term is Ghana Federation of Organizations. Ghana Federation of Disability Organizations.
All right.
Okay, so we are all persons with disability.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Mr. Excellency, Your Excellency, Mr. President, and all the good people here, we just want to say that as persons with disability, we are one of the most vulnerable groups of this nation. And we have been so adversely affected by this evil and, bad practice. We are very frustrated, we're disappointed, and we are angry at this situation. This issue of galamsey has plagued this nation for I don't know how many years. And we've put in measures, we've put in laws, we have different institutions, we have bodies, we have Attorney General, we have the military, we have the police. I could go on and on and on. And still, the people are doing it. And still, they continue to kill our water bodies. They continue to kill our environment. And now they are killing us as people. And still, sometimes we really get a little fed up with a lot of... I know we need to have laws in the country. I know. We need to have laws in the country. We need policies. But we also need results. We also need things to happen. Mr. President, you have the power to stop this thing. We know it is everybody is affected. But Mr. President, you have the power to stop it. You can go on a state of emergency if that is not enough. You have the responsibility to do something to stop it and make us all safe. Now we hear of more children that are coming into the world with deformities through no fault of theirs. Sure. Children are coming into the world with mental problems through no fault of theirs. Children are coming into the world without limbs through no fault of theirs. And still, people are continuing to do this poisoning. Still, they are doing this evil thing. So please...
Through no fault of mine, I would have to cut it here.
Okay.
In order to
then thank you so
save
much.
time. Thank you very much for your contribution. Now that brings us to an end of the session for questions and contributions. I do know that there are many of you here who would have loved to make contributions or ask questions, but as you may be aware, we are very hard pressed for time. So we'll give the opportunity to His Excellency the President to summarize. All right, so the Lands Minister will take a few questions. Perhaps you will want to address Franklin's. Yes, so there are a few questions that he would like to speak to. And then His Excellency the President will take the floor and make some remarks.
There was a question about the frontline institutions and people who have really not helped this fight and what we are doing. I can assure you that we are dealing with them appropriately. Those that must be terminated, those that must be punished. We are working on that as part of the whole reform. On budget, I think it's a very good question. If you saw my presentation, I called on corporate Ghana to come to our aid in supporting this fight against illegal mining. For example, if I give you how much is required to reclaim 7,500 football fields, probably the whole of Ghana's 1 year budget has to be spent on the Galamsey fight. And so clearly, that is really a problem, and I thank you for bringing it up. But corporate Ghana must come and support us collectively in this fight, especially reclaiming our water bodies and dechemicalizing program. It's a very expensive undertaking. And so I want to make sure we bring that up. Thank you very much. Deportation is not government policy, it's an administrative decision. And I believe that we've already tabled it strongly. I'm sure His Excellency will review this and make sure that we address it appropriately. I thank you.
Thank you very much. So, having heard from various segments of Ghanaian society, I now have the privilege to invite His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama to give some remarks which may factor in some of the concerns that have been raised here this afternoon. Thank you very much.
By thanking all of you for honoring us with your presence at this first dialogue on illegal mining. We know that the issues of illegal mining are dear to your hearts and to the hearts of every Ghanaian. And that's why we decided that from time to time we'll hold this dialogue. This is not going to be the last. We'll hold this dialogue to update you on the progress that we're making in the fight against illegal mining. Mining in Ghana has been historical. And when the first Portuguese arrived in Elmina, one of the first things we sold to them was gold. And that's why they built the fort in Elmina. Our grandfathers were involved in mining. The problem with the difference between then and now is that they use rudimentary tools to undertake the mining. And so the capacity to create destruction to the environment was very limited. The whole equation changed when the small-scale mining sector started deploying heavy earth-moving equipment. Before, it was only the big-scale mining sector that was involved in using excavators and bulldozers and huge dump trucks. At a point in time, the small-scale mining sector, which is a legal sector of our mining, it was passed in PNDC time to allow, because we realized that the big mining companies were owned by foreign companies, and Ghanaian small-scale companies that had the capacity to mine were prevented from doing so. And so the mining code was revised to add for small-scale miners. And as I said, there's a difference between small-scale mining and artisanal mining. Artisanal mining was what existed before, using pickaxes and shovels and so on and so forth. But when the new licenses for small-scale mining started, and they could afford to bring in excavators and bulldozers and others, it meant that the ability to destroy the environment was expanded. And that is where we currently have our problem. I want to assure you that we are determined to win this fight. And your contributions, your criticisms, your pressure, putting fire under our feet does not have any problem. We don't have any problem with that. You must continue to do your advocacy, to urge us on, to encourage us to win the fight. As I said in the last media encounter, I said that I had no illusions that within 7 months I was going to win the fight against Galamsey. And I said that it wasn't going to be an event, it was going to be a process. Mistakes have been made. In the first effort we made, we go into a forest reserve. We mapped out the forest reserves that had been that had incursions of illegal miners, and we deployed the first wave of our security services. They scored a lot of successes. In a short time, they had cleared some of the major forest reserves that were called no-go areas. Unfortunately, after we cleared the illegal miners from there, the security services withdrew and handed over the forest reserve to the Forestry Commission. And so they put their forest guards there. The forest guards don't have the capacity to defend the reserves against the illegal miners. And so lessons learned were that in the next wave, with the formation of NIMOS, that we must deploy It comes with a cost, because if you send troops and station them permanently to guard the forest reserves, we must feed them, we must provide them with fuel, we must give them vehicles and all the logistics they need to be able to do that. And so that links up with Franklin's question about budget. We need a substantially bigger budget than we have currently to be able to win this war. Happily, budget hearings have started. The budget for next year is going to be presented to Parliament. And my expectation is that the Minister of Finance will give a much bigger allocation to this fight against Galamsey. We also need enough troops. Our troops are stretched. We have so many chieftaincy disputes all over the country, land disputes. And so you go to Sampa, we have troops there. You go to Gonjaland, Savannah, there are troops there. You go to Boko, there are troops there. You go to Nkwanta, our troops are there. And then our troops are also on the border to protect us from terrorism. And so they are spread thin. If we take another batch of them and go and put them in the forest, it means that we are committing most of our troops to other things other than crime prevention and keeping us safe. And so that's why NIMOS is a combination of the police and the army. So all of them contribute troops. And then we also have national security also contributing and all the other agencies. But happily we have some additional troops coming with the winding down of some of the peacekeeping theaters. And so when they come, as many of them as possible, we'll add them to the force so that we're able to dominate all the anti-Galamsey sites and be able to win the battle. As he said, we have targeted 7 major zones in the regions, and the army have come up with a proper strategy. NIMOS has come up with a proper strategy for engaging the illegal miners and making sure that we clear them from especially the forest reserves and the water bodies. One of the important successes is the change in the whole issue of excavators. Excavators came in huge quantities, and I remember that at a point under the previous administration, they asked that permits be gotten before excavators are imported. Meanwhile, the law did not say you should get a permit after, but that was what we came to meet, that you bring the excavator, then you go to the Ministry of Transport and ask for a permit. But the law actually says that you must get a permit before you import the excavator. And so now we are enforcing that law. And so you can't bring an excavator in, you can't put it on a ship. And we're telling the shipping agencies, if you bring an excavator for which there's no permit, we shall penalize you, the shipping agency, for carrying that excavator here to Ghana. In the meantime, we came to meet a huge quantity of excavators in the port. And that is what the lands minister was explaining to you, that we had to decongest the ports because there was no more space for anything. And so we've moved them to the military space at the Shire Hills and other locations, and we've corralled them there. One of the successes too is the registration of excavators. Even though the law requires excavators to be registered, nobody was registering their excavator. And so if you look at the DVLA records, there was no registration of excavators. And so anybody could bring in an excavator and take it straight into the forest. Today, we are requiring that every excavator must be registered with the owner of the excavator known. And once that is done, like he said, we started putting trackers on the excavator so that we know exactly where they are going to. It's not only illegal miners who use excavators, contractors working on our roads, quarries and others all use excavators. And so it's impossible to just put a complete ban on excavators, but we must know where that excavator is being used for construction purposes. And so we now can hold the owners of excavators responsible if we find the excavator in a forest reserve or engaged in illegal mining. And so that's one of the advances that we have made. We started a geofencing policy where it makes it possible for us to know where every excavator is, so that if the excavator moves after where it was geofenced, then we can go and find out where did this excavator go and what is it doing where it has gone. And so that would help us. With regards to turbidity of the water, as the scientist said, it's just about, you can see physically with your eyes, what the turbidity of the water is. The thicker brown it is, the more coffee-like it is, the more polluted it is. The less it is, the less polluted it is. And so, like he said, we are scoring a few successes, especially on the Ankobra. I believe the minister chose the Ankobra to start because it flows through his constituency. And so there are some successes, but like he said, we still have the Pra, we have the Densu, we have the Birim, we have the Ofin and all of them. But that means that we must get more manpower. The Blue Water Guards have started work, and a lot of them are deployed on the Ankobra River. So far, we've recruited 1,000 of them. We pay them an allowance of, if you take away deductions and other taxes, of about 1,500 cedis a month. And so if we have 1,000 of them, and we pay about 1,500 a month, it means for a year, you're talking about roughly 18 million cedis. And that's for 1,000 of them. And so if we scale up, then it means that we need more money to employ more of them. But I endorse it because it gives them an alternative source of income. Because as they are fighting the pollution of our water bodies, they are also earning an income as a kind of alternative livelihood. And so that is something that we'll have to scale up. And so the Minister of Finance in doing the budget must make extra provision. We also have to start reclamation, because it's not enough to just stop them and drive them away and leave the land scarred the way it is. And so there are a few companies that have worked with the United Nations, and they have come up with some trees that help to regenerate the soil and can also take out toxins from the soil. If you've heard about the green Sahelian wall that the United Nations was sponsoring, Some of the companies involved there have also come and tried those crops in areas that we want to reclaim. And they say that the tests are positive and they can work with us. But of course, we need to use these bulldozers and things we have recovered to level out the land before these vegetative, organisms are put in the land to be able to reclaim the land. So reclamation is one of the areas that we must look to. Happily, we should be able to get some support from green climate funds and a lot of these green funds to assist us in reclamation. But we must put our resources in first. The menace of illegal mining, and I've been trying to find out about best practice, and I found out that apparently we are not the only ones suffering. The high gold price is pushing a lot of people into gold, especially gold. Into, and there's violence, people have died, all kinds of things are happening. So we might not be the only persons, but there are success stories we can learn from. Because if you look at Chile, for instance, they've been able to formalize 90% of their small-scale gold mining. It means 90%, they were in the same situation as us. But today, 90% of their small-scale mining is formalized. And they have control of it. They inspect, they make sure that they're doing the right thing. We can also achieve that. And so even though we're not alone facing that menace, I believe that we can use the best practices of Chile and others to also formalize our small-scale mining sector and make sure that we're able to take control of it. And that is part of what we tried to do when our colleagues died in the helicopter crash. We contacted the big mining companies. Some of them have concessions like 200 miles square. And they're not going to mine all of that concession today or tomorrow. There are some of the places they've explored and found that the gold content is so low that it's not really profitable for them to start mining. But for a small-scale mining company, because of their lower costs, they can mine it effectively. But they must do it responsibly. And so together with the big companies, we said, okay, let's start this cooperative mining, seed part of your concession, so that we can move the small-scale miners from where they are causing distraction onto your concessions. And then you can help us to monitor them and make sure that they are doing the right things. So that was what we were going to launch in Obuasi when the tragic accidents happened. The first was Anglo Gold. Anglo Gold agreed, and they carved out a part of the concession. I'm happy to know that since then, Newmont have come on board and are going to assist with the cooperative mining. And some of the other bigger companies have agreed that they will carve out part of their concession so that we can move these illegal small-scale miners onto those places. And so we'll continue to do that. We also have the issue of geology and geological exploration. Currently, our mineral prospects have not been explored adequately. Happily, there's new technology generated by AI that allows those with the technology to partner with our geological survey department. And what they do is they shoot seismic from satellites, and they're able to map out exactly where a mineral prospect is. Currently, when our small-scale miners get a concession, they go and dig this place. There's not enough gold there. They leave it. They go and dig there. There's not enough gold. They leave it. They come and dig here. There's not enough gold. They dig here until they find something. By the time they find something and they're mining, they've dug all over the concession. Today, it's possible to precisely map out where the mineral prospect is. And that's part of what Gold Board is trying to do. That is their other responsibility. That is to give geological survey money together with their partners to shoot the seismic for Ghana and show where exactly the resources are. And based on that, do PPPs with Ghanaian mining companies that will mine that gold responsibly so that they don't go around just digging everywhere. So that's one of the things that Gold Board is going to introduce. And this fits into their track and trace system, which they are going to launch, because we cannot export gold to the European countries because of LBMA restrictions. And yet, if we introduce a track and trace system, we should not only be able to export to the Asian countries and the Middle East, we should be able to, once the gold has been tracked and it's known to have come from responsible sources, then we can export it into the LBMA countries. And that allows us to get a much higher price, for our gold than we currently have. And so Gold Board has to activate that other aspect. Aside from that, we're looking at best practices for small-scale mining, because small-scale mining is not restricted only to Africa or to Ghana. It is done even in the advanced countries. And so there are small-scale mines in Canada, Australia, even in the United States of America. And that's why when I spoke the other time, I said that we're contacting some of them so that our small-scale miners association, could be sent to go and see that you can do this in a much better way than we're currently doing. Happily, we've trained a lot of geologists, we've trained a lot of mining experts. University of Mines and Technology has trained so many of our young people who have the technology and the ability to do so. And so the intention is to attach these graduates of UMAT to the district mining organizations, and they would help the district mining organizations to go and inspect the small-scale mining industries and make sure that they're doing the right thing. Normally what you do is, before you start, you must dig what they call a tailings dam to contain any water that you use to wash the gold. And so all the gold that you wash must go into the tailings dam and is contained. And after you wash the gold and you finish mining, you're supposed to cover the pits, and then after that, there are chemicals that you can use to clean and detoxify the water. I'll come to that in a short while. But like I said, it's not an event, it's a process, but we will never give up. It's a long journey, but we'll continue to work on it. I like that somebody raised that, what are we doing to the kingpins? Because most of those 1,400 who have been arrested are young youth who are looking for something to be able to look after themselves. And we'll prosecute them, we'll imprison them. But those who run those operations are the ones that we must be arresting and imprisoning, not these little boys. And so we need to change our strategy. We can arrest the boys and all that. Be given, there's no slap on the wrist. What's the least sentence? 15 years. 5 to 15. Yeah, so we'll catch these boys and we'll feed them for 5 years. Look after them for 5 years and discharge them. But like I'm saying, maybe we can look rather for the kingpins and deal with them in a major way so that we are able to get something on this whole thing. With regards to toxification of the waters, like the EPA was saying, we've started some pilots. There are new chemicals that have come that allows you to treat water and take out the toxins and the heavy metals. There are new chemicals that have come. One of them is called dioxin. The people came and we sent them there. They took samples, they tested. We're waiting for them to bring the results back. But there are other ways of dealing with gold, that is processing gold, without using mercury and cyanide. There are different for instance, you have what they call vortex concentrators. You put the gravel in there, and it's a vortex. It's like a centrifuge. And all the heavy things sink to the bottom. and you're able to take out the water, and you see the gold lying at the bottom, and you don't need to use mercury and all that. There's carbon filter there. You can use carbon filters to filter the water in order to be able to take out any toxins that are in there. They call it activated carbon filtration. You have reverse osmosis that is capable of taking out heavy metals and others, from the water. So while we are fighting the menace, I'm also saying that we should uptake technology in order to protect our environment. So yes, let's fight the illegal mining, but at the same time, let's bring in the new technologies that allow us to be able to protect our environment. Now, with the elephants in the room, state of emergency. Yes, I have the power to do it, but the president acts on the authority, not only on the authority, on the advice of the National Security Council. And as at now, this moment, the National Security Council believes that we can win the fight against Galamsey without a state of emergency. I want to assure you that the day they advise me otherwise, that, boss, now we need a state of emergency, I will not hesitate in declaring a state of emergency. But we do still think that we have the powers to be able to win this fight. And as we deploy more troops and we apply more resources to the fight, I'm sure that gradually we'll begin to see that we're winning the fight. So like I said, this is not going to be a one-stop dialogue. We're going to continue to update you. We need your support. We need your criticism. We need your advocacy. We need your pressure. Continue to put our feet to the fire, because that will encourage us to also continue to work harder. And so I want to personally assure you that as president, I will also continue to put pressure on my lands ministry and all the ministries that are involved in this to make sure that we're able to hand over to our children and our grandchildren an environment that our great-grandfathers handed over to us. They gave us a beautiful country with a lot of forests and trees and beautiful rivers. We should not hand over poisoned rivers and desecrated forests to our children and our grandchildren. And so we will continue to fight. I believe that we'll win the fight against Galamsey. And I want to thank you for the advocacy that you continue to do. We'll hold the next dialogue. 9 months will go to work and continue. And once we chalk more successes, we'll be able to come and update you that this is what we're doing. We want to do it transparently. We have nothing to hide. I don't gain anything from Galamsey. I am not personally involved in Galamsey, and I have no interest in it continuing. And so you can be sure that we are all on the same side, and we'll continue to do this work. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency.